Hello, my name is Hannah and I'm one of the editors at Five Dials magazine. Welcome to the launch of our Autumn 2021 edition. This issue features some extraordinary work from some of our favourite authors, poets and designers, which we cannot wait to share with you. Firstly, we hear from one of this edition's contributors, author Hans Smith, who will be giving us a reading.
Hi, this is Hans Smith, and I'm reading a story called Stress Test. 1. My name is Very Glass, which is sort of funny if you think about it. Not because my mother died falling through a window or anything like that. My mother is a careful person. She files her nails every other day and never smokes when she thinks she might be sleepy. I did have a cousin, or I think she was a cousin, who swallowed crushed glass in a bottle of Coke Zero, but she didn't die of that, however much she'd hoped to. She died of pills. She wasn't even called Glass. I barely knew her, and she probably was not that much like me. 2. Imagine it's a little hamster that loves you, he said the first time. He was showing me something, and to me it looked bright blue, even though I obviously knew it wasn't. It just needs a nest to hide in, he said. It just needs to burrow. You like hamsters, right? Everyone likes hamsters, I said. I actually like field mice. It's not a field mouse, he said. It's definitely not a field mouse. I knew that field mice were more intelligent than hamsters. I knew that they performed much better in the maze tests. It wasn't relevant, but I could picture a hamster chewing its own stubby tail where the maze walls met. The picture in my brain was real because I'd seen it in a video set to music. It's a hamster that just needs a place to be, somewhere sweet and very warm, he said. It didn't work. It didn't work the next time either. Suddenly he tried. He was remarkably creative. Imagine it's a ferret instead, he said. Imagine it's a lollipop. Imagine it's a veal dog. Imagine it's a trophy made of crystal or glass. 3. Whenever he stopped caring that it wasn't going to work, he did something with himself instead, and that seemed to work fine for him, so I left him in the mattress room and went online to read more about the thing I'd found. The mattress room was how I thought of it because there was no bed frame. The thing I'd found was a post that said, "Is it just me or does anyone else remember this?" It was written by someone called Paradoxide_89. That goddamn cereal diet, they had written. You had to eat just a bowl for breakfast and lunch and then a tiny mini dinner that could also be a bowl. That was what the rules were on the box. Then there was an image of the box. It showed a measuring tape twisted like a ribbon around a woman with tanned but white skin, flat across her stomach. The measuring tape was floating, and the woman was also floating. Paradoxide_89 had written, "Does anyone remember, or is it just me, lol?" There were 391 comments when I first looked, and there were 30 or 40 more each time I went back to check. And the cutout part that you could fold from the box that dosed the 33 grams for you, someone wrote, it made a shape like a square ice cream cone. Then 33 grams was a handful of flakes. A handful was meant to be a meal, Lamau. Then I deadass passed out and spent my 16th birthday in hospital because of this, because I'm dumb. 4. Sometimes I turned up the radio so that I wouldn't hear him in the mattress room. One time, a voice was saying, "We are a society comfortable with violence." The voice was annoying. I considered pressing the up arrow until it reached the maximum volume, just to see if anything new would happen, but I pushed the down arrow instead. The voice was still talking, but I couldn't hear it, and I was right next to the speaker, so stuff a bird if anyone else could. And the cereal box and the measuring tape and being 16 were muffled too temporarily, but really still there under everything. 5. I'm sort of trying to think some things through, and a list might help or it might not at all. Sometimes there are lists on the internet, and sometimes there are quizzes. Like, which kitchen utensil are you? Which spirit animal gemstone flame are you? Like, you're a woman with monster calves if... I'm sure I'm always failing those quizzes. I get a different result each time because I don't know what my real answers are. I'm the whisk or the squirrel or the mauve jade, except I'm not. 6. Why a trophy, I said the next time he tried that one. His face was very close to mine, obviously. I guess I'm thinking like the Oscars, he said, like that type of trophy, like a figurine, but in nice shiny glass. If I won an Oscar, which would it be, I said. You, he said. Yes, I mean me, I said. I'd win Best Supporting Actor, he said. That's just how I am. I'm a supportive guy by nature. You wouldn't want the lead, I said. Nah, he said, I'm fine. Take this, for instance. Look at me helping you out right here. It's just the way I am and pretty much always have been. I could see him making the speech to the audience. He'd have something stuck on his lip, most likely, a micro piece of food or saliva, but he wouldn't notice and therefore it wouldn't matter. You'd be best film not in the English language, he said. He was already laughing, and when he laughed, he found it hard to hear, but still, I said, I don't speak anything that's not in the English language, though. I was wrong because he had heard. That's why it's so funny, he said.
In this issue, we have the honour and pleasure of highlighting Hamish Hamilton's 20th anniversary publication for IC3, the Penguin Book of New Black Writing in Britain. This is a celebratory 20th anniversary publication of a landmark collection from Black writers across the literary spectrum. This groundbreaking anthology was first published 20 years ago into a very different literary landscape. Showcasing the work of more than 100 Black British authors, this edition celebrates their lasting contributions to literature and to our wider culture. IC3 spans a wealth of genres, from poetry to short fiction, memoir and essay, to demonstrate the range and astonishing literary achievements of Black writers who remain underrepresented in British culture today. The book features a new introduction from original editors Khadija Sasay and Korsha Newland. And in this video, we'll be sharing some clips from a conversation between them on IC3 and its lasting legacy. We'll then hear a reading from one of the IC3 contributors, Joy Russell. We hope you enjoy.
The thing is that it's like saying don't be political, and the point is that we are always being political. Everything. And we always we don't, the fact that you would look at maybe what other people are doing, namely what European culture is doing, and saying that is not racialized, and what we're doing racialized isn't of itself racist, right? They are talking about race. They are always talking about race. And the other thing is that as an editor, I am not going to tell other writers what to write.
No,
I'm judging the work on the merit of the work. Is this quality? Does this get across a certain point of view in a stylistically good way? Is the writing good? I will never tell as an editor, I will never tell a writer that they shouldn't be writing about this.
Exactly. Because that is something we've had to fight against all the time.
Yeah.
The only thing I always say to writers, and that doesn't care, and to me, it doesn't care what background they are, what gender, is that I do feel that writers are responsible.
Yeah, of course.
But you've got to take on whether you're going to acknowledge that or not.
Yeah.
What you're writing, people are going to take it on board, and you do need to be responsible. So if you're being irresponsible, own the irresponsibility.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But then I'm not going to say don't write it, but then I've also got the right as an editor not to publish it.
Yeah, situations as an editor since IC3, or even with IC3, where I was like, okay, we're not going to take that piece on. I don't really, but for me, and this is something that me and my other fellow editors have talked about quite a lot. We've gone back and forth. It's really interesting. I would publish a perspective that I don't agree with if I thought the writing was good.
Yes,
I would do that. If they put forward an argument in a really compelling way, and it's written well, and it just it has that flair and it has that thing, and I would put it in. I don't necessarily have to agree with that perspective for it to be in my anthology. Yeah.
I agree with that, because if I can argue for the piece, basically it's kind of like if somebody then asks me about it, I need to be able to respond to it in a way to say this is why I published it. Then I'm fine.
Hi, I'm Joy Russell, and I'm in Vancouver, Canada, on the unceded territories of the Salish, the Musqueam, and the Tsleil-Waututh peoples. And I'm really happy to be here as part of the 20-year anniversary launch of IC3. And I'd like to extend a really big thank you to both Khadija and Korsha for having the vision to put this anthology together, which was groundbreaking in British publishing at the time and also in Black British writing. And also thank you very much for including me in the anthology. So big kudos to both of you and much gratitude. I'd like to read a poem that's actually not in the anthology, and it's a poem that came about from some of the research I was doing at the Museum of London many years ago and listening to some of the oral histories and recordings of people who were coming from the Caribbean in the 50s to Britain. And the poem is called On King George's Crowning. On King George's crowning, the interviewees said they all got sweets and little goodies, and when they come by boat, some come as stowaways. Once they collect money for this woman's fare, others come a fiver tight in their pockets, like my grandfather when he escaped from the belly of the Crown and never spoke of it again. Others not bring overcoat. No one told them how air moves vampires through bone, erases memory matter. Some dress in suits tropical style, as a ship moved its shaky hand over the old surface of the sea. They arrive, say, I born Jamaican, I die Jamaican. Take a bite of the sweet. Hand to mouth, take the test of motherland's history, bitter replied when asked if they spoke the Queen's English. Enoch Powell's rivers of blood forming a new oxygen. Scarlet marked as they sliced through London fog. Iris recording life, how it is. Houses of Parliament, Big Ben in the grey dank, a room, a galvanized tub to wash, emerge baptized. The city soot, a new glove for the body. The signs reading no Irish or blacks or dogs, not wanted, but take your money just the same. Some carry hope like luggage, others not so sure-footed, others not so childlike in believing all what this mother have to say. Some bring formal names, leave pet ones behind, whisper night bougainvillea, how this country cold, cold, cold through and through, and no tea hot enough to warm you, or hand friendly enough to pry open the dark days, bring morning brightness. Some come, stay, patience worn thin like paper, hearts tough as old bread, and letters back home with every copper earned from the double-decker, brow wipe of the sick, hammer of nail into 2x4. If they let you, if you not too dark for their liking. Some come long way, did bite of the sweet. Motherless mother's milk. Old England crying crocodile tear for her lost children. Thank you.